Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Jared and Nate with E-Carrier Check. We're excited today. We have a special guest in with us. Ryan, thank you for being here. Um, we'll dive in and talk about Ryan here in just a little bit, but I really want to get into the week. How was your week, Nate? What happened? Tell me some
You
good
know,
things, some bad things.
it's a good week. Honestly, I want to start off with some good things. I had a lot of subscribers that called this week about finding carriers. They were able to find some carriers, even some shippers. So it's always good to hear that feedback from people. Our site is really helping them, perform better at their job, just making their life a little bit easier. So that's been nice. Some things that I've noticed that people have been struggling with. Honestly, a lot of us with the cold calls. So it's kind of nice. We got Ryan here today to kind of shed some light on those people that are struggling with that.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you who may not know what eCarrier Check does, Nate, maybe just give us a quick rundown of what it is that we do on our platform, and then how do we help.
Yeah, of course. Our site is built, eCarrier Check. We're built to help dispatchers, brokers, and carriers, such as people like Ryan. Right. We're here to help you find leads, carriers, brokers, or shippers. You name it. And not only that, we're here to help you stay organized. But we also built a really cool utility phone function in our system to help you start making calls and gathering rates. So it's really cool. We got going on here. We got really good community going on here at eCarrier Check. Really good support. We try to support you as much as we can. So it's really cool. So check out our community. Check out eCarrier Check on YouTube. Subscribe, and we got a good community going. So it's
Yeah, we
awesome.
do. I think that's probably one of my favorite things. Wednesday's Q&As. Obviously Ryan's a client of eCarrier Check,
Hmm.
and we appreciate him coming on today and being a little bit vulnerable and making some calls. But I really like our Wednesday Q&As. Once you become a client of eCarrier Check, you get to join our Wednesday Q&As, and it's really strategy. Last couple times we did cold calls right on that Q&A link. We talked about writing effective emails, different marketing functions, radical marketing functions. We've done some crazy stuff on the Q&A, um, as well as just covering off on things that people may be struggling with specific to our site, or they need a little bit help or things like that. So Ryan, thanks for coming on. Obviously it's Friday before Memorial Day. Tell me about your week. How was your week, Ryan?
Man, I do want to say thanks, Jared and Nate, for having me on the show. I'm very excited. It was a great week. I know obviously everyone's working today, Friday, but it's kind of a holiday for most. So with that in mind, there's been some challenges, but no, I mean, things are still moving. Um, at least with my customer base, things are going really well. I haven't seen this big slowdown, anything like that. We're kind of just chugging along here.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you do a lot more kind of solutions based, selling, logistics selling.
Right.
Um, you really are more into, providing a full scale solution than just quoting one shipment more than anything.
Right.
But I know you still make, your fair share of cold calls and things like that. So we're excited about that. So I wouldn't mind,
Yeah.
before we jump into some cold calls and have you start dialing and seeing how effective we are or what we could do to get better, um, talk to us about, the process prior to the cold call.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to start out with saying this. Now, eCarrier Check does have a great function. The shipper function is great. And the reason I like it is not so much because I can type in a certain keyword and get what I'm looking for. Like I have my niches that I know what I'm looking for. And so I'll search for those things. But then it'll show up companies with those names or that keyword in their names, right? The good part about that is from there, I get to dig a little deeper and find those companies. You guys don't just give us a name, give us a number, say call this, and you're going to be successful. No, you make us work a little bit. And so for me, that gives me a bigger opportunity because I know for a fact some other brokers will not go that far. So what you have to do, you need to dig in, find the companies, find your niches, and then do a little bit of strategic research on that company. What exactly are they moving? Okay, we'll look at their network. Where do they have facilities? Where do they have locations? Where are they probably sending this out to? What kind of places are they sending this out to? And what's the mode? And from there, you can kind of take it and your logistical mind should take over at some point and help you figure out exactly what they're doing in this. So when you get on the phone, you can be you're essentially professional in their industry already or with their product, or you can throw a few things out there that they're like, okay, this guy's done his research and he knows what he's talking about when he comes to us. So make yourself a little bit more professional just by doing a very little bit of research.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you're doing all that research, Ryan, are you just doing research and then calling? Are you doing research all in one day and then calling, the next day? What seems to work for you? It obviously varies by sales reps, by comfort level too. What seems to work best for you?
Right. So to manage my day, I truly don't usually make more than 5 cold calls a day.
Okay.
Because I've found I don't need to. Okay. And that's not, it just, there's people that'll sit and just pound the phones. Now I used to do that, and that helped me get to the point where now you do have a certain customer base and you service that customer base, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're servicing them, you can't spend 200 calls a day on the phone. You just don't have time. So what you do is then you can start researching companies. You need to form a pipeline. Okay. So get those 5 companies you're calling today, call those companies. And now if you don't already have tomorrow's set up, you either need to move from today's over to tomorrow's for the pipeline, or you need to start researching new companies to plug into that pipeline for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So today's calls, obviously, there could be some either overflow or there could be some follow up.
Sure.
Walk us through what a couple calls look like. I don't think we're not hammering out all 5 today, but talk us through what kind of calls we're making.
Sure. Okay. So actually, when you guys first approached me with doing this, I was like, okay, well, let's take this from a completely different view. Let's not just take 5 random companies and start calling. Let's do a couple different angles. So I've got one of them's like a follow-up customer. I've spoken to them for about 3 months now.
Okay.
And this is going to be touch about 7 or 8. Now I connected well with them. We've emailed back and forth, but we have yet to get a shipment on a trailer, right? So we're going again. So we're gonna retouch that one. And I think, get a little deeper with them, because you know how it is, Jared. Like, you don't sell someone usually on the first go,
right?
It takes a few extras. So we have those. Another one we have is actually the end a receiver of one of my customers. So we ship to these people all the time. So now let's call that receiver and let's see, hey, we're bringing stuff into you. What can I be doing for you on your end? One of those. Others are just follow-ups from, past relationships. And we do have a couple new ones as well that, hey, I've been eyeing this company for a while. I'd like to reach out and see if there's anything we can do for them. So There's so many different aspects when it comes to calling.
I wanted to highlight something really quick, because you mentioned something. We get a lot of people, freight brokers such as yourself, and good morning to you. Thanks for being here, and everyone on TikTok.
If you are on TikTok, by the way, and you can't see Ryan, we're live on Facebook as well as YouTube, and you can see Ryan, and you should be able to hear him as well. So.
Yeah, thanks for being here, everyone. But you mentioned you're on touch 7 or 8. We have so many brokers that come to us, they're getting shut down on their first call. Yeah. That's one thing I wanted to highlight, because it sounds like you're being consistent, and that's what I want everyone to hear on this call today and understand. It's going to take 7 to 8 touches. Stay patient, be consistent. So I love that you said that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I love that. So, I say we dive in. Let's make a call. Obviously, from your standpoint, or even from a private standpoint, I don't necessarily want to hear who the shipper is, or that aspect. But if you want to start us off, Ryan, let's kick off a Friday and see if you can get in touch with anybody and see how this call goes. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, hold on one second, Jared. Let me pull up my list.
If there's any questions out there too as well, throw them in the comments.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a live freight broker here, so maybe there's some questions you can ask Ryan or just ask us. So
we definitely would take that for sure.
And I do want to start out by saying this: I'm by no means like a wolf salesman. I'm not like a slick guy. I'm your average guy. I grew up in a farm in Nebraska, right? I'm pretty rough around the edges. But we are in the freight industry. Okay, we're not selling diamonds here, guys. Be straightforward with them. You don't need to have these slick taglines and these crazy intros and yada yada. Tell them who you are. Tell them what you do. Tell them, hey, I'd love to help you out. Other than that, they'll either let you in the door or they won't, but they'll be straight up honest with you. If you're not, don't be sleazy. Just
Yeah.
be honest,
Yeah. I appreciate that. Actually, I think being genuine as a salesman is probably one of the more important factors of just truly being genuine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I think a lot of people lose it by trying to do a little too much.
yeah, absolutely. You ready, Ryan? Or
Yeah, I'm dialing now. Sorry, I'm going to have it in my earpiece if that's okay with you guys.
yeah, do your thing, man. You're fine. Steven and Kay, you guys have some really good questions.
So I got a voicemail. So I'm going to leave a voicemail real quick.
Yeah, do your thing.
Hey, Sarah, this is Ryan Holiday over at NTC Logistics. Hey, I just wanted to follow back up with you. I know we spoke a few weeks ago about moving some products for you out of your facility there. Just wanted to maybe reconnect and see what we can do to become a partner for you. If you could give me a call back when you get a chance, 308 765 1478. I would sure appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you got a voicemail, by the way. It's Friday.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting into the people of vacation. Steven asked, when do you stop following up and put some time, sometime between the call outs, say 3 days, 7 weeks, a month?
Sure.
What would you do in this particular case?
Oh, and Stephen, that is a great question. So a lot of times it's one of those things. It depends on how the first call go. If it was you just left a voicemail like that, I'm going to call her again next week. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Now, if you spoke and it was kind of a iffy situation or like an iffy conversation, they were kind of interested, but they didn't know yet, I'd maybe give them a week or two to sit on it, but don't wait. You don't have to wait weeks at a time. You don't have to wait an extensive period. I mean, Jared, what are your thoughts on that? But when it comes to me, I'd like to get as many touches in. I'd like to keep my name in their mind as often as possible.
Yeah, I think, a couple thoughts, a couple thoughts that I always did was, I think you call it professional persistence, right? You don't want to be annoying. You don't want to be that guy. But I do think that professional persistence is important. And, personally, what I always did in a voicemail, now this particular voicemail, you talked to her earlier, you've been in contact with her before. One of those things that I always like to do with a voicemail that if it's the first time is I usually try to leave a voicemail with some kind of action item in it. So I'll give you an example. I'll say, hey, this is Jared over at Carrier Check. And the reason for the call is we're a sourcing and utility platform that helps freight brokers and carriers and dispatchers to, find the right people that can help grow their business, right? But the action item that I like to put in there is I really like to get into, I'm going to follow back up next Tuesday at 10 a.m. And just so you know, so sometimes what happens when you put an action item in that voicemail, especially when you give them some kind of, hey, I'm going to follow back up at 10 a.m. or whatever it may be, right? They start to go, okay, this guy's going to keep calling. Or, they get the guys that just call once, leave voicemail, and then never call back.
Sure.
When you tell them there's an action item, they're going to get in the mindset, oh, I need to, you're going to hear this guy. And especially if you call back again next week and the week after. So I definitely think, I always left an action item. I think it's important. Sometimes I even say, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow back up with an email. Maybe you can shoot a couple times that work for us where we can get 20 minutes where we can talk about the trends we're seeing with your industry, the trends we're seeing in our industry, and how they can connect through the rest of this year, right? Sure. And so you can kind of get into and sometimes it's best to write it down so that you have kind of a script to a certain extent, right? But those are always things that I think is really important to kind of drive. So Kaylin says, she says, I'm a new dispatcher wanting to get carriers. Is it good to call brokers and talk to them first? Kaylin, this is an interesting question. I from a dispatcher standpoint, and I know Ryan's a broker, so he hasn't really met or dealt with this at all. So I'll kind of run with this one. But I think really what you need to do is start to cut your teeth to get carriers and really start to build relationships and learn what those carriers' pain points are, right? Learn what the solutions are that you're hoping to provide, right? So when you're calling somebody to, as Ryan's calling and saying, hey, I've got a carrier that likes to run from Los Angeles to Chicago, instead of just giving, here's what I do and here's what I'm looking for, you really start to address more pain points or solutions based selling. So I don't know if it's necessary that I would call brokers to get started. I would really go into, let's cut your teeth. Let's start to learn what solutions you need to provide carriers. So when you're calling carriers, it sounds more like a solutions based or a pain point solution based, hey, I'm a dispatcher, what I do right now is take a lot of time off of your plate so that you can focus on trucking, so I can help you administratively, not only book loads, but do billing and things like this, so that you're doing what you're best at and I'm doing what I'm best at, right? So it's more solutions based selling. So really good question. Kay, I appreciate the question. Ryan, I say let's kick off number 2 and see where it goes here.
Hey, Jared, real quick, I do want to expand on that question from Kay real fast.
Sure.
I would recommend, so if she's looking for carriers, I would recommend not reaching out to brokers, right? Because as a broker, that's kind of what we're doing as well. I'd love to find dispatchers that have carriers, right? I have a few dispatchers that I call regularly. So if you're struggling with stuff like that, social media is huge nowadays. Get on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram. There's plenty of pages for starters, for things like that. And just reach out to people on there. Say, hey, I'm looking for carriers, new dispatcher. And that's another way that you can get your name out to mass people more than just one at a time.
Ryan, that was awesome because we had a really good comment here. Amoria, sorry if I missed your name, but really good feedback here. So market your business. If they don't know what you do, you can't find carriers, right? So that's awesome. Basically what Ryan said, that's great.
There you
go. Definitely.
Yeah. And then we got another comment here. As a dispatcher, I call brokers to learn the lanes they have so you know what to offer carriers. Building relationships with brokers as well, even if you didn't have a carrier. Yeah. I think no matter what, in some regards, you've got to continue to build relationships in all avenues. And it doesn't matter, obviously, I think you've got to get carriers under your belt. That's how you make a living. But you're right, GEL Logistics or GAL Logistics, you really do have to understand the industry. You got to understand what's going on. So I do market on Facebook and TikTok. So yes, I agree. That's awesome. I love that you're using TikTok. We're live on TikTok.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of that. Ryan, let's go to number 2, man.
Yeah, let's get into it, guys. All right.
Thank you for the like on TikTok. They're appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of fun. I like TikTok. I find it very entertaining. Yeah. I can just scroll for hours.
Oh, yeah.
All right, get in the ring.
We going to voicemail again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot. Darn it. Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing.
Hey, Colby, it's Ryan over at NTC Logistics. Hey, I just wanted to reach out to you. I know we tried to connect a few times and our schedules haven't quite allowed it. Wanted to maybe touch base with you, see what next week looked like for you, see if there'd be 20 minutes we could get together just to discuss your network and maybe discuss how we can be a partner for you and help you guys out in the future. I'll follow up with an email and just, maybe reply to that and let me know what you have coming up. Thank you. If you need to call me back, 308-765-1478. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Raphael, what's up, man? It's good to see you. Shout out to Jared Ross. Thanks for believing in me, brother. Yeah, things are going well. I'm super glad to hear that. I actually haven't talked to you, Raphael. It's good to hear from you. If you got some time, call me next week, man. I'd love to hear what you're up to. So I appreciate it. I definitely believe in you. Ryan, let's dive into the next one, man. Let's keep her cooking. Let's see let's see if we can get somebody on the line. I know we're
Let's try to get
Friday,
something
Friday
there.
Memorial Day weekend is tough. So
Well, and it's one of those things too. If we strike out today, I would like to maybe try to get another time with you guys and get some things rolling. The only way you get better is you keep trying, right?
I was just about to say, I think this is a great example for those people who are just starting brokering, or it's a grind.
it
They
is.
keep making those calls.
Yeah.
Yes.
It
And for
is.
those of you who are watching, if you ever wanted to come on live and do, some dispatcher calls or broker calls, carrier calls, whatever you wanted to do, we'd love to help and support you. I know it's kind of an audience here when you're out like this, but if those are something you'd ever be interested in, reach out to Nate and I. We'd love an opportunity to showcase you and let you kind of put your vulnerable pants on and make some calls live here. So
Dialing for dollars.
dialing for dollars. Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah, and just guys, when you are calling, just remember you're gonna stumble over words. Sometimes you're gonna
Oh
say
yeah.
things that didn't quite make sense. Just don't be self conscious. Don't worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just be better the next time and just keep going. Don't
Yeah.
get hung up on one thing. Just
Exactly.
keep rolling. So, all right, here we go. And this is a new one. I don't know exactly who to speak to yet, so we're gonna find out.
Okay. I love that. I find this very entertaining. Yeah. You going to do the voicemail system?
Mhm. Yeah, this is a long ring. We might hang up. We might try another one. Or circle back to this one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, and these things happen. And it is we've said a few times, holiday weekend.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's just dive into the next one here.
Yep. No, that sounds good to us. I think something that I really like about your kind of demeanor when you're doing this, you're fairly calm, Ryan. I can hear you breathing, just in a sense of it's a very smooth, breathe. I also like the tone of your voice, just so you know, and the pace that you kind of run with. So, um, just some feedback from you. I really like how you're, presenting yourself.
Sure.
Now it's just a matter of, continuing to call and doing what you do. So,
Right. I appreciate that, Jared. Thank you very much. I appreciate any feedback. And if you guys have any, critique for me, I'd gladly take it.
yeah, it's definitely when you're on the spot, it definitely can add some. Oh, here we go.
Sorry. You can't be kidding me.
So while you're calling, Ryan, I'm going to address this one. So JAL Logistics talks about, he's getting ready to start his brokerage next week. By the way, congratulations. That's awesome. I love that. Um, you get anywhere, Ryan?
Now we're going to dial that one back. Kind of the same thing. Got a deadline on it.
So Ryan, let's talk about this question briefly here as you're in between calls. It says, when you started, what was some of the challenges besides cold calling? I came from car sales, so that won't be a problem. So he kind of gets, how to connect with people and how to make those things. But,
Sure.
What are some areas that he should watch for that, can make, maybe not make or break him, but maybe some of the scars that you got in your early years versus now that you recommend from that aspect. And I've got a couple in my mind.
Sure. Well, now, luckily, I will say this. When I started, I had a great team surrounding me. The guy that hired me, the guys I work next to were all great. So they kind of helped steer me in a great direction. So I did have that going for me. I'll tell you that. You will get burned sometimes. You got to be careful double brokering. You got to be careful of certain things like that. But my biggest thing, it wasn't so much other people in the industry. It was sometimes you don't have a client for a few days. You might not have a client for a week. And so all of a sudden it's this insurmountable fear that you will never ever make it, and it will never happen, and you're never going to make money, and you're going to go broke. And that's literally one of those things that you just have to get over it, because it's going to happen. And inertia, man, as soon as you get that ball rolling, it's going to roll, and it'll keep going. So just don't stop.
Yeah, I tend to agree. You know, the Amore says credit getting carrier factoring companies to work with your new brokerage. That's definitely an uphill battle, and I completely understand.
Yeah.
You know, when we started the brokerage, we dealt with this a little bit early in that brokerage, and that was one of the things. I think the one thing that I'm like you, JAL Logistics there, or JAL Logistics. I come from a sales background. I was able to connect with people fairly quickly. I think something that I struggled with was just attention to detail. And I found myself, getting myself into circumstances where I would get a load. And because of my lack of attention to detail in an operational standpoint, I didn't see what time they closed or opened, or I didn't see the actual dimensions of the load and found out that it was over dimensional after somebody would look at the thing. So after they look at the load tender, right? So one of the things that I really wanted to, as the years, continue to put scars on my back, operationally and process is everything with this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you really, in my opinion, not only will those operations and processes help you grow in this industry with your clients, but your clients will appreciate it and feel it better too. And I'll explain real quick. In my mind, if you've got good processes in place, you're paying attention to detail, you understand who the carrier is, you know the dimensions of it, you know when they close, you know exactly what's going on, you can react when things go bad, right? But if you forgot those attention to details, you're going to feel like a horse's patoot, right? So it's one of those things that I definitely think you got to pay attention to detail. The other thing that's really important is just your process, your paperwork process. Mm-hmm. If you don't hire a carrier and do the right process, and that guy gets in an accident, you can really expose yourself, right? Or if you don't have a good process for billing and your billing sloppy going to your customer, guess what? I love this guy. Ryan's the best. He can't bill worth a darn. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's always inaccurate, or it takes him 60 days to bill, whatever it may be. So I really would hone in on process, operations. I came from the sales background as well prior to me jumping into the logistics industry. And it was one of those things that I really wanted to make sure that I tried to kind of instill, okay, what process should I be following here? Am I hiring this guy right? Things like that. So I don't know if you have anything to add on to that, Ryan, but that was really what I learned. And those are the scars that I got.
Right. Well, no, Jared, those are great points. A big thing in our office, sometimes I've seen some guys struggle with this, but it's been addressed, but we've had issues with check calling sometimes.
Oh, just simple operations.
If you won't make a check call, and this guy tells you he's good on a load, I'll be there at 3:00 to pick this up. But then 3:30 comes and your customer calls you and says, "Where's my driver?" Well, you should have known 4 hours ago that he was off the load, right? Yeah. That he fell off, because you should have made that check call.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're scrambling at the end of the day. You can't cover his load. And here you go,
Yep.
Just simple things like that. But one more piece of advice is pay your carriers.
Oh, this is huge.
Pay them well and pay them quick.
Yep.
Because hardest thing to do is find you a good set of drivers. And as soon as you find a good set of drivers, you do not let them go.
Yeah.
You let those guys run for you because you're paying them well and you're paying them fast.
Absolutely. I think just, oh my gosh, you hit it on the head. I think the relationships you build operationally are really, it's kind of that surround yourself with the people that you want to like. You surround yourself with the carriers that really drive for you, that really understand, that they're meticulous about the way they strap their loads down, or they're meticulous about the way they loaded it in their trailer. Mm-hmm. And they take a lot of pride. I love those carriers that take a lot of pride, that communicate well. I'm such a fan of what you just said there. So that's a great deal. Ryan, I say we try one more. I know it's a Friday. We're not seem to be having a little bit of luck here, but let's just see if you can get maybe one more, and then maybe we bring you back here in a couple of weeks and keep going. But I love the content of today and your willingness to make the calls. So let's try one more.
No, I'd love to get him on the phone. Let's, man, if we could close something right now, that'd be wild, right?
It'd be crazy, yeah.
Yeah, let's see what we got. All right. Let's go with this one. Okay. All right, it's ringing for us.
All right, let's see what happens here.
Hey, Jackie, Ryan at NTC here. Can I get someone in shipping, please? Yeah, we've actually we work right around your facility. We're a flatbed carrier, and I'd love an opportunity to speak with someone about hauling for you guys directly as well. We have both, to be honest with you. We're an asset-based carrier, asset-based brokerage, I should say. So we do own our own, but we also do outsource as well.
And then you will have an option.
Hey, Joe, Ryan over at NTC. How you doing? Hey, good. Hey, the reason for my call today, we're a flatbed, oversized carrier, and we kind of get out in your area quite frequently. I work within your industry, and I came across you guys. Say again. Kind of out in the Kansas, Missouri area there. And I came across you guys. Sure.
We think it's got some kids interested in it, and then Mark Whitaker had that.
Okay.
And then they call us, and he was really interested in the concept. He said,
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Joe, that'd be great. What's a good email for you?
let's go down here and see. We've talked about that with Justin and Jerry.
.com. Yeah, I'll get you all the proper paperwork, and we can kind of move on from there. Thanks, Joe. Look forward to it. Thanks. All right. Well, there you go.
So walk us through that, Ryan. What happened there?
That was one of those. So I do have a tendency. I talk, right? I'm a talker. Okay, but so we were stepping on each other's toes there within the conversation, but yeah, very very cut and dried. You can get some of those shipping managers that are very cut and dry.
Yeah,
right? They are. Let's not chat. You tell me, you send me your paperwork. I'm gonna look at it. Right. This guy, he told me his project's kind of in a few different areas. I mentioned the Kansas, Missouri area because I knew that's where he was based.
Right.
But he's the central location for a few different.
Okay.
Well, he's got a few projects currently going on in a few different areas. But I know the two of the areas he mentioned are places we could cover.
Yeah.
So it would work out well. So he asked us to send over some paperwork. He's going to check us out and kind of go from there.
That's awesome, man. I love that. Yeah, JAL Logistics has scheduled. Should have scheduled a follow-up call. Sometimes that's tough to do when you're stepping over each other's toes.
Yeah.
Trying to get a follow-up on this. So, obviously the follow-up will be the email, and then possibly try to just get him on the phone again later.
Right.
In that regard. So,
and you will be able to read people. He is not. You can just tell he was a hard-nosed guy, right? He wasn't. I don't want to talk. Just let's get our jobs done and let's just kind of move forward.
You can tell on speed of their communication, and you can also tell on not only speed of the communication, but their tone and their voice.
Mm-hmm.
Are they busy? Are they annoyed? Are they, I love that you just got somebody on though. Nice job. I think we'll, as far as calls today, Ryan, I feel really good about that. I love what you're doing and how you're doing it. Thank you for everybody that's been on today. Really appreciate all the questions and comments. Ryan, do you have any finishing thoughts or closing thoughts before we head out?
Nothing that we haven't really touched on. I do just want to tell you again, just keep it simple and be yourself on the phone. Don't be a salesman.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear a salesman. Just be yourself, be comfortable, relax,
and
just have fun.
Yeah.
Go write your own paycheck, man. Like, go have fun.
Exactly.
You know,
That's what it's there for.
what we're here for. So just go enjoy it.
I love that. I love that. Nate, as we close up, tell us when people can get in touch with eCarrier Check and how they can get in touch with eCarrier Check. And then we can close up the show.
Yeah. First off, thanks again, Ryan. Appreciate you. You're a great motivator, in my opinion, and I think you're a good example of a great freight broker. So I hope people on the call today learned a little something. Yeah. But get in touch with us at ecarriercheck.com. You'll see our contact info there. Get on a demo Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, or Tuesday or Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So sign up for a demo and let us help you and show you ways that we can help you grow your business and and grow as a person. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Enjoy your weekend, Ryan. I know it's a longer weekend. Kind of work hard, play hard situation. But thank you for being on, guys, and we'll see you guys next Friday at 11 Eastern, as we do every
Thank you
week.
all.
So
thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, Ryan.
Take care, Ryan.